For centuries, knowledge has been hidden in plain sight across the sands of time. Whispers of lost civilizations, cryptic symbols, and forbidden histories have been erased or concealed. What if the truth was never lost, but hidden? Welcome to Eye of Ancient Mysteries, where the past speaks and the future listens. Sit back, open your mind, and prepare to uncover the untold secrets of our world. Let the journey begin now. Historical figures. Who died during sex? A few centuries ago, Italians passed around a rumor that sounded more like a joke. John died because Satan hit him over the head. They were referring to Pope John VI, who was said to have died during a passionate night of lovemaking. But he's far from the only historical figure rumored to have died in bed. Here are some other famous people who allegedly met their end between the sheets. Pope John VI. According to his contemporaries, Pope John VI was far from the pious man expected of someone in such a high position. Rumors claim he turned the Lateran Palace into a brothel and had affairs with several women, including the widows Rin and Anna, his maid Stephania, and even his own niece. He reportedly died of a heart attack after a night of passion with Stephania. Attila the Hun, the fearsome leader of the Huns, was also known for his insatiable sexual appetite. He refused to settle down and constantly changed the women in his bed, until he met Ildiko. On their wedding night, however, he suffered a nosebleed that wouldn't stop and died. Some sources suggest Ildiko may have poisoned him. Pope Paul VII allegedly broke his vow of celibacy and maintained a long-term relationship with a younger man. He died in 1471 at just 54 years old from a heart attack. Rumors at the time claimed he was found in the arms of his young lover, and in the Vatican, people joked that he was loved to death. French President Félix IV, officially, President IV died of a brain hemorrhage, but it was an open secret that he passed away while receiving oral pleasure from his young mistress, Marguerite Steinhale. There were suspicions that she poisoned him, and she was brought to court, but eventually acquitted. U.S. Vice President Nelson Rockefeller, despite his staff's attempts to cover up the circumstances of his death, it was ultimately revealed, even on his death certificate, that Rockefeller died during a sexual act. A clear giveaway was post-mortem priapism, or a lasting erection after death. His heart gave out while he was in bed with his secretary, Meghan Marshak. Historical facts that might make you blush. Some lesser-known details about historical figures would definitely make the front page of any unbelievable but true column. Here are some spicy facts about famous people from history. Mozart once wrote a song called "Lick My Ass, Leck My Chimarsh." He was a big fan of scandalous humor and composed the piece for 6 voices. In old France, it was traditional for queens to give birth in public. Queen Marie Antoinette had such a large audience at Versailles during childbirth that she was nearly crushed by the crowd. President Lyndon B. Johnson once pulled out his penis during an interview. A reporter pressed him about why American troops were in Vietnam. Johnson unzipped his pants, whipped it out, and said, This is why. Mahatma Gandhi conducted strange chastity experiments, letting young men and women bathe and sleep together, though any sexual conversation or action was punished. Alexander the Great had 361 concubines. That's a lot, even for someone called great. Catherine the Great had a voracious sexual appetite. She even had a servant whose job was to test her lovers for venereal diseases before they could join her in bed. Genghis Khan slept with so many women that about 0.5% of the world's population, 16 million people, can trace their lineage back to him. Queen Maria I of Portugal came from a deeply incestuous family. She married her father's younger brother, making him her uncle and husband. Their son Joseph married Maria's younger sister when he was 15 and she was 30. That means sister, daughter, and niece were all the same person. Let's just stop there. These facts about medieval female hygiene will leave you speechless. In general, Europeans tried to avoid bathing, thanks to the romantic image spread by Alexandre Dumas. Many people dream of living in the age of musketeers, imagining it was glorious and refined. But not everything was as charming as it seemed. Let's talk hygiene. Today, most people have a bathroom and some even a bathtub, but just a century ago, this was considered a luxury. By the end of the 18th century, Europeans had largely stopped bathing. Surprisingly, the rise of Protestantism played a role. Protestants considered bathing to be shameful. During the Roman Empire, public baths were found in every city, but starting around the year 1500, they began disappearing. Ironically, the plague helped kill off the bathing habit. In crowded bathhouses, fleas, the main carriers of the plague, could easily jump from one person's clothing to another. This fear led people to believe bathing was dangerous. Erasmus of Rotterdam wrote in 1526, 25 years ago, nothing was more popular in Brabant than public baths. Today, they are gone. The plague taught us to live without them. Even royalty bragged about not bathing. Queen Isabella of Castile proudly claimed she had only bathed twice in her life, once at birth and once before her wedding. By the 17th century, bathing was seen only as a medical treatment and was done by doctors' orders. King Louis's XIV was so traumatized by one doctor, prescribed bath, that he vowed never to do it again. By the 18th century, people only washed their hands and rinsed their mouths. They didn't even wash their faces, fearing it could cause eye infections or blindness. Naturally, not bathing led to a strong body odor. Instead of washing, people tried to cover the smell with perfume and scented sachets hidden under their clothes. Interestingly, silk nightgowns became popular as a way to fight lice and bed bugs. Silk was too slippery for the bugs to cling to, making it the fabric of choice among the wealthy. Fashion also contributed to poor hygiene. Lavish 18th century hairstyles were stunning but difficult to maintain. Women kept them as long as possible, turning them into breeding grounds for lice. Thankfully, by the 19th century, doctors began promoting bathing as healthy, but ordinary people were slow to accept the idea. Women in particular feared that washing their genitals could make them infertile. Even feminine hygiene products were a problem. There were no pads or tampons in stores. Women made their own from cloth and cotton. Toilet paper is a very recent invention. It first appeared in 1857, when a German entrepreneur sold single-use sheets. Rolled toilet paper didn't arrive until 1890.